and we'll just make it new. So, make a new version of it. Yeah, so why don't we do that? Because I'm actually going to have you, when I was watching, the advice I was really giving you was that you have no gold, so you can't do anything this week anyways. You do have like a farm
Yep.
period. But in the next month, I actually do think it's believable based on what I'm looking at for you to get the Reaper to 40, the Summoner to 40. I think you could do that this week. If you care about the Soul Fist, you could also get her to 40, but that does slow down the other goal that I was going to give you. But you could get the Reaper, the Summoner to 40 this week. You could get the Shadow Hunter to 80 next week, as long as you're getting your gold earning, right? The other Shadow Hunter, the 65, within
Yep.
4 weeks, I think you could get her to 80. So within a month, you could have 2 more 40s and 2 more 80s, and then I figured we'd reconvene and we'd figure out where you want to go from there.
Sure thing. I don't mind swapping, I guess, the priority on Summoner and Soulfist, if need be.
And by that, what do you mean? Swapping the
Um,
priority.
so
Do you not like those characters? Because we can just totally scratch that. I was just looking at it with it on. When I was looking at the information, I didn't actually. The one thing I didn't get from this was I didn't know who you liked and who you didn't like, and that was kind of why I got stuck. Because I was like, I can't give this kid advice to level up a character that he doesn't even like. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Because
Um,
otherwise, I'd be telling you to level up those 1460s to 90 because it's basically free. You know what I mean? It's a free jump in rewards.
yeah, that's true. In terms of enjoyment, Glaive obviously, Shadow Hunters. Um, Sharpshooter, a little less, but it's still up there. Reaper, same thing. I do have Lunar, but I've been like recently kind of swayed into the idea of thirst or hunger, but like that would set back a lot of like in terms of eye level progression as well. So I'm kind of
Especially for a character that you don't necessarily care about right now.
right, yeah.
Again, that would be a
Um,
decision in a month. Actually, that's where you would make that call. So in a month, if we're at that, once we've accomplished these other goals, if you're like, hey, I actually don't like this build, I want to swap it because I'm planning on pushing the Reaper to that next level. That's where we
yeah.
would make that change.
I'm also just gonna give it time because of the recent change with the Night Bear being on the X and having to do like I think someone mentioned there was like the Moonstriker build instead of like the regular like with distortion and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's an adjustment of play style that I would say immediately is kind of throwing me off. So that's why I'm, I guess, more.
All the more reason to not push her right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the
Um,
40 thing is really just because it's just an ultimate spot. Like that's why. So it's a really good spot to just get these characters to, and it's cheap. I even said in the video, I was like, you could just do it. You could buy it if you really need to. Not like will, but like with gold. Like if you earn your gold this week, you could just buy it if you really had to because it's worth it. It's like it's right there. You just get it done. I'm not saying to do that, because
yeah,
actually if we look at your photos, the pet peeve that I actually had with looking at yours is the pet peeve I have with a lot of people. It's that whole bird in the hand concept. You have a lot of materials, so all the materials that you have in your inventory are losing value the longer they sit there. So all those bound mats, those reds and stuff that you're having, that second picture that you sent me, they're just wasting.
with the storage as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
So
just
like these.
yes, yeah. It's a waste sitting them there because you're not getting any value out of them, and they can immediate. So your goal in this game is to ultimately bring characters up to that next level, right? So the longer that those mats just sit there and not being used, the longer they're not gaining value, and actually they start losing value over time. So that's why I said you could probably get those 40s like literally probably today. If you had the gold, you could probably do it now. So what I had said in the video, I'm going to say it again, because again, I'm not going to upload that now, is I would actually recommend, like, maybe not now on stream, but what I was saying on there is I would take whatever materials you need. Don't open all of them at once. Use them as you need them. But I would go
Yep.
target I gotta look at the picture again, I'm sorry. I would go target the Reaper. Use whatever you need to get her to 40. Then I would hit the Summoner, use whatever you need to get her to 40. If the Soulfist is a character that you see yourself playing her content, like Chaos Dungeons and the Guardians, I would do the same thing for her and push her to 40. If not, if that's not something you think you're going to be doing, and you would rather take this route, which is the route that I actually like better, I would take this week 1, to get the Reaper and the Summoner to 40 using those mats. Whatever you have left over in those materials, I would use all of them on the Shadow Hunter, the 70 Shadow Hunter, and next week, by the end of week 2, I would get her to 1580. So you'll have 240s and a 1580 by the end of 2 weeks. Now, a caveat to that, inside of the roster storage, some of those materials are Radiant tier materials, 1580 and up. All of those materials do not open on these characters. I would save all of those, or open all of those actually on your Glavier, because that's going to allow you to get
Like
to your
these, right?
goal. Yeah, and that'll allow you to get to your
Okay,
goal a
yeah.
little bit faster. So if it takes like 3 months natural progression, like natural farming to get to that goal, by opening those on your Glavier, you're cutting back, 2 weeks. You're cutting back a month by doing that. So it's okay to open them before you actually need them, because you're going to need more materials anyway. So it's really just to alleviate some roster storage, to alleviate some storage. And as long as you open them up, and I used to call it ratios, as long as you're opening it up in a reasonable ratio, you're not going to hurt yourself. If you open all of them on one character, that's a bad idea. But that's why I'm saying, so
Yeah,
you use
yeah.
what you need to do to get the 240s. Then after you get the 240s, I would use what you need. Actually, after you get the 240s, if you're not going to go for the Soul Fist 40, I would literally open all of the materials below 1580 on that Shadow Hunter, the 70. You may not need all of them, so maybe not. Like, maybe do the same thing, use as need, but I'm pretty sure you're going to need all of them for that character. Never buy honor shards too. If you ever are out of honor shards, you don't push. You farm. That's it. You're in a farm
Yeah.
phase. That's the
Yeah, I
one thing
don't.
you don't buy in this game.
All right, sounds good. Leap stones, yeah.
And
For
right
my
now, as I have you on camera, if you want, you can actually go to your main character and just take all of those radiant materials out and just open them now if you want.
sure, yeah.
Because you do want to eventually push. Is she your main, the Glaive? Like,
Yep.
guaranteed? Okay, so if you do eventually want to push her to the 20 ranges and stuff, yeah, you might as well do it. Because all it's going to do, especially, here's what's great. Here's what I love about somebody who's late to the content, right? And don't take that as a FOMO moment. But
No, no.
somebody who's not at the content on release, is that you actually have more freedom. Like, you really do. So you just, all you need to do is you open all those on there, and then as soon as you have enough materials to go for it, you go for it. That's what's great about it. It's actually more liberating being behind the content, because you don't give a shit. You really don't have to care. But
No.
we could get this character to that next stage faster by doing so.
Yeah, I was definitely on top of the curve when it came to the 1580, and you're right. Like it's so stressful, and you really have to min max to. Well, maybe
Well,
not min max, but like for someone that didn't play like religiously,
you need to
I
just
would still have
avoid
to.
big mistakes. That's it.
Yeah,
Exactly. If you don't play religiously, it's not about necessarily doing the right thing at every moment. You actually don't have to do half of what I just said to you to actually get to where you want to goal wise. If you wanted to, you could open all of those on your main character, and it would be the best decision for you to get to 1620 quickest. I just don't think long term that's a great decision. But it's more important when you're not playing like a psychopath like I am, like 40, 50 hours a week, or you're not whaling, right? That you don't make mistakes. And that's why I have that peeve with the 25 weapon thing. Is it's not bad idea for anybody who's playing how we're playing, but anybody who's a casual gamer only putting in 20, 30 hours a week, or even 10 to 20, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you a lot.
yeah. I never enjoyed that idea. Just because if we're just talking high level, and
You
I've
get
seen some videos
0.83
about
per
it.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's horrible. It's just, there's even videos on cost evaluation, like where you should put your gold and what's more valuable for it at the moment. Like, should you go for level 10 gems before you do it? And level 10 gems are better than eye level, cost wise too. So like, this is what's funny, is I'm not being mean, but a lot of those guys don't have all level 10s, but then they're gonna go for a plus 25. They're gonna get less damage per gold, per value, like significantly less too than if they were to just get all level 10s. It's like, it just doesn't, it's
That being
illogical.
said, that's another priority. Or, uh,
Gems.
yeah,
So just don't sell your
pretty much.
gems. This is what I tell people. I don't tell people to buy gems that don't play like we play. Like, if you're not, again, if you're not a nutcase on the game, either whaling, RMTing, or playing ridiculous hours, which you're not. You're at 3.2K. That's not you. It's a very humble amount of hours. It's not like, it's probably not the casual range. I think the casual range is like 2K hours,
Yeah,
but
I'm just gonna open these up while you keep
yeah,
talking.
yeah, good.
That's fine.
I wouldn't buy the gems though, I guess is what I'm getting at. I would do your natural farming. Just don't sell your gems. That's what I tell people. So you're gonna take a gold loss
Yeah.
each week by not selling the gems, but just keep funneling them up into that one character and focus one character at a time. That's it. If your other
Uh,
characters don't have at least 5s, 6s, or 7s at this point, though, I would kind of somewhat prioritize them. But we have been getting crazy good passes. Did you use those two level 7 gem passes?
I don't believe so.
The two express missions that gave us 7s?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which two characters
Um,
were that?
both shadow hunters actually.
Oh, so they're good. Oh, that sucks, though. Are those demonics?
This one's demonic. This one's perfect suppression.
Okay, so the perfect's getting full use out of that, but the demonic totally got fucked.
Yeah,
But that's fine though, because that's two characters that don't need gems, and that's kind of what I say in the video. So that's great. That's fantastic. That means you can put more attention into your main character. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Um, it's just you probably could have got away with the 2 gem build on the demonic,
yeah, that's true.
and then took those other 7s and put them on like the sharpshooter or something. But go ahead, you can keep opening those. But
I'm kind of holding off on this just in case to see like what would I need.
you're definitely
But
gonna need them though. Go to your bounds or go to your other screen real quick.
yeah,
You don't have to, but yeah, there's not a chance you don't go through those, but that's fine. No, I respect it. If you want to put those back in the storage.
right. But I don't know if I'd go for the blues or the reds. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, they're either or. Got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Good call. No, good call. See what I mean? And that's what I. So I'm not always gonna have the right answer. So it's good that you actually used your brain and deciphered there what you should be doing. Okay, that's fair. So I wouldn't open honor shards on her yet because you actually look like you have a lot of honor shards. But you could do what
Oh,
I do is you could go pre-juice the next taps, like is usually what I'll do. So like I would go to my honing guy and I would actually just juice them, and if I run out,
oh,
I open them. So it's up to you if you want to do that as well.
I think I got a few of them already, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Not all though.
But you definitely have a farm period based on your silver, based on a lot of that stuff I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead, just juice those two up. Yeah, you're kind of good on honor shards. You are. You're pretty good. You should be
Yeah,
fine.
Glavier, I would say is like the most consistent. I can't say I've played like all six or even like nine of the characters every day, but every once in a while,
I
I'll
don't play every day. I play 2 days a
yeah,
week. That's it. 2.5 ish.
yeah,
I think that playing your character every day, your main, is actually huge, though. Like, it is a pretty big loss if you play the way I play. It's not because I play so many characters, but if you're playing one character and then playing it 2 days a week, it is a pretty big loss.
yeah.
It's 40% actually. But,
Hey, how's it going? Oh,
so, what's up, Bob?
Yeah,
Go.
what's up? Intrigued.
No, no, no.
oh, all good.
Go. So now go back to your roster storage. So let's go to. I don't like I said. I don't want to do this with you on stream where you go for the 240s. So how do you feel about that? I guess. Do you kind of understand what I had said to you?
Yeah, actually, going back
So
to the gem thing, and this is kind of
and you can change anything along the way. I'm giving you like a baseline. There's people who like. I remember one Guru episode. They wanted an Esther weapon. That completely. Hold up. Uh, that completely changed the goals, right? Because he wants something dramatically different than what any other player would want, and he wasn't a whale, so it made it even more challenging to try to get to that. So
yeah,
I'm not going to tell him to level any characters because a goal like that's going to require like all of your attention. So if you have any goals like that, because you're going back to the gem concept, if you do want better gems and that's something you really want to prioritize, like if you wanted to prioritize the plus 25, I would still help you get to it. Would I hate it? Yeah, but I would still help you get to it. Same thing with the gem thing. If you really want to put gold value towards the gems, we can do that. We just have to do your breakdown. So if you make 150k gold a week to get those two characters to 1540 next week or this week, it would probably take like 20 to 30k. I really don't think it would take that much. 20 to 30k. That would leave you with 120k left. You could buy a 9 if you wanted to, or a couple of 8s. Do you know what I mean? Or we can
yeah,
jumpstart the goal for the 1580, and then do you see where I'm going with this? We could jumpstart your goals, move your goals up, try to hit those faster using the gold, and then the faster you get them there, the faster you can start using all of that gold from that point forth to just funnel gems into the main.
yeah. I would say I'm pretty flexible with like how we go about this, but I would probably prefer at least level nines before I hit 1620.
You're probably guaranteed that. I'm not gonna lie. You have a
Okay.
while because it was a fucking 4 month farm for all of us, and that's not with balance. That was
Yeah.
with me funneling. That's only with funneling. Like without funneling, natural progression probably like 6 months. I don't actually know, to be honest. I'll
Yeah.
tell you when my other characters get to that range, right? But, so that's perfectly fine. I'm literally
Yeah.
not even worried about that.
Yeah, and speaking of funneling, if I'm not mistaken, my summoner I don't think has any jumps at all, just because I was trying to kind of keep relevant with like being
Other
accepted
stuff.
into like a con lobbies.
Okay.
So
Okay, so the
that I
summoner
might have to
maybe
bring up a little bit.
don't push the summoner, I think, to 40 then. Because
Okay.
if you don't have at least level 5s, then how are you going to... You could do automatons, but then you're just kind of being a dick. Do you think it's possible for you to get her at least 5s?
Yeah, yeah.
And do you want to? Better question.
I don't mind having like multiple characters, 1540, and then like maybe setting them aside.
Will you do the automatons, though? Like, will you
Yeah,
do their... Okay, if you'll do their content
yeah,
at least
I'm
once
pretty
a
comfortable
week,
with them at least.
if you'll do it at least once a week, you're going to get the value eventually. That's the thing. So, like, it's as long as you're playing it here and there and using the rest, you'll be good. Guardians, though, honestly, because it's only one a day, like, I would do them at least two to three times a week. Easily. But, okay, so if that's the case, then maybe try to take some of the gems, slow down on your main for a bit. Are you getting into your con lobbies with what you have at the moment?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so then I would slow down at the moment. Don't worry necessarily about the gems on the main. Get her just some 5s. You don't need anything crazy for a Hanabaton. Nobody's going to gatekeep you out of a Hanabaton. Honestly, I matchmake it anyway, so...
Yeah, yeah, same.
Get her some 5s. Get her up and running. Get the 240s this week. Then all your gems after you get her your 5s, just fucking funnel every single gem you have into your main character. And I promise you'll see the results over the next couple of weeks. And again, we'll check in again in a month. I don't see you hitting 1620 within a month. I don't know if that hurts. Like, if that's not what you wanted to hear.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. And here's the thing. Because of the way that they've updated purple elixirs, if you can get to 1610 by Thamine, which looking at your account, it does look realistic. If you can get to 1610 by Thamine, then you will still have your epic elixirs for at least that. And then you'll be able to make, the normal Thamine a little bit. Because I don't see you getting to 1630. That's completely out, right? So because I can't see you getting to 1630, the only next goals are 1610 for the next piece of content, right, to be relevant. And
Mm-hmm.
I haven't made a video on this yet, so I don't want to say too much, but I just want to say that it's actually perfectly fine. And the way that Smilegate's setting the game up right now, this is exactly what they want you to do. Is they want you to go from normal. If you're a casual player, they want you to go through normal. They want you to go through normal Thamine, get your first level of transcendences, make 1620 even easier to get, because now you have 3 pieces of content feeding you 1580 materials up and more gold. Then go for your 1620, get your legendaries. It'll be easier to get your legendary 40 set because you already have the purple elixirs that you've been grinding over whatever period of time. Then you can eventually push towards 1630 and get your next level of transcendence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly reasonable. I think I forget who it was, but I did end up seeing some videos over that discussion, and it's all pretty like crystal clear.
Okay. So what are you doing this week? Let's just recap and see if you can remember everything that I kind of spewed out. Also, you can clear out more inventory space. See that 152 owner tickets? You could pull those out and dismantle those, and it'll put them into an auto storage for you. So it's just wasting space.
The instant use ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you just dismantle them, and it'll make up more space for you. Also, I'll go back to that real quick. All the special honing materials I always open on the character I'm pushing, and in your case, because you're not, I have six characters at the end, right? So
So when you say special, do you
the
mean these or
those, yep.
support? Okay.
So ordinarily I use them on the character I'm pushing next, but in your situation, there's no way in the world I would recommend you opening those on anybody but your Glavier. So I personally, again, to open up storage space, would just fucking open all of those on your Glavier. I open them up in a ratio. You can either do 1 to 1 to 1, meaning like 1 purple, 1 blue, 1 green, but I actually open them up 1 purple, 1 green, 2 blues, because you actually end up needing more of the blues than the others. Now there is calculators.
Yeah.
There is calculators online that actually don't recommend this, though. There's calculators online that say that it's actually more efficient to just use the greens and purples or something like that, and you can look that up. I don't follow that because I fundamentally disagree with the logic just because of math. It just doesn't make sense to me. But but I'm not going to dispute it. If that's the route, if you want to go the meta route, you can look it up, and it does seem logical. Like, there is logic to it, but I personally, I open them up in a ratio where I can constantly max them out. But yeah, so I'm trying to help you open up your inventory space. That's all we're doing really right now, is clearing up clutter, because you don't need to keep all that stuff in there. And again, it's the bird in the hand concept, that every day that you hold on to these materials, they're just losing more and more value. Not just because they're actually going down in value in the market, but because they actually could have been on a character. So like, let's say you got one of those 1540. Right now, with what you have right now, you probably could have already had those characters at 1540, which means that they could have already been farming that next tier of dungeon, that next guardian, getting ancient jewelry, potential drops. See kind of where I'm going with this? Like, you already could have
Yeah,
increased
yeah.
your resources for stuff that you're holding on to. So bird in the hand. I say that all the time, like people know what it is, but I don't even really know where that saying comes from.
It's not intuitive to me, but I see what you're saying without the expression.
So week one, what's your goal?
Yeah.
I know we went all over the place. I try to kind of hone it back in because it's tough sometimes. I threw a lot at you.
Reaper 1540. I think you mentioned either like focus getting level fives on summoner, or maybe even like
If you don't get the fives on
pushing the
summoner,
1540 to Sophist instead.
does she have gems?
I'd actually have to check.
Okay, go check. If you're not going to put gems on those two characters, don't push them. That's fine. It's not a big deal. If you don't do that, then you just get the Reaper and we go straight to the Shadow Hunter next.
Okay.
It,
Any reason to at least go like 1550 on sharpshooter
no,
to get
no,
like hard mode?
no, no. It's not worth it. It's just not.
Okay. Even though
Oh,
it's
for
like
hard mode,
real
bro.
depth. Yeah, yeah, to for gate 3.
I'm pretty sure the gold diff between normal and hard is like 2K or like something like 2,500. So that's entirely up to you. Do you think the
Yeah,
extra
I'm
two?
just asking because it is just like a few taps away.
Um, again, so I call that the dead range between 40 and 60, or 40 and
Okay.
80, because there's not really much in there that you get a lot of value out of. So perspective, you can do all
Oh, I have
of.
the event gem, so yeah.
So you can do, yeah. So maybe push her instead of the summoner. That actually might be the better decision for you. Yeah, that might actually be the better decision. And then just leave the summoner to the back line. Unless, again, you want her, but then if you want her, I'd get the fives. But talking about the 50. Uh, if the difference between, and I don't remember what it actually is, but I think it's like 2K. If the difference between all four gates of hard mode and all four gates of normal is only 2.5K gold, and you can already do all of normal, but pushing to 50 would only get you one more gate, then that means that you're even getting less of a difference, right? So if you're doing 1 to 3 hard mode, and if 1 to 4 was only 2.5K more, then that means 1 to 3 is probably like the same amount of gold. So you kind of see where I'm going with this? Like, you're basically not going to make that much more gold. We can actually pull it up. I actually don't know. I have no idea how to find that, if I'm being honest. I'll try to find it real quick, though. Shit. Let me see. I'm going to, on the side, try to figure out raid rewards. Here we go. Okay, so we have a little spreadsheet here. Let's pull this up here. No, I don't want to do that. Wait a minute. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. So, let's take a look at Brel. Brel Hard gives you 2,500. This is without opening the chest. 25, 3K, 3K, 3K. So, or 2K, 3K. I'm sorry. So 5K is 8K. It's about 10.5K for hard mode. For normal, you get 4.5, 5, 6. You get about 8.5. So you're losing about 2K. But if you push the 1550, you're not going to get that 3K from hard mode for gate 4 because you're not 1560. So you're actually only getting 2K, 3K, 5K, 7.5K. Yeah, so I'm right. So no, you're better off where you're at. You're actually making 1,000 gold more by just doing gate 4 normal.
Huh.
See what I mean? So you're not
Yeah.
getting anything for it. You're getting better materials and stuff. One second, actually. I'll be right back. I got to blow my nose. I got like a
Sure. Yeah, yeah, no problem.
All right, sorry about that.
All good.
It kind of came on quick. I didn't want my nose like running. Making sure I got like no snots hanging out. But yeah, so does that make sense? I've never actually pulled this up like this. It's just one of those things I kind of always knew in my head, but I didn't really ever look at it. So I'm kind of happy I did look at this with you. But yeah, do you get what I'm saying? So it's like you could push it, but you're not actually making more gold. You'll actually be making less gold, and that's not fully true because you could still do no. You could still you. That's not fully true because then you could still
Like,
do
you do
normal
1, 2, 3, and then like a separate
gate
4
4.
normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so it's not fully true. But even if we did that math, right? So 2, 5, 3, and 2 is 4, 5 is 7, 5. And then if you did normal, it'd be 2, 5, so it'd be 10. And if you just did all normal, it would be 2 is 4, 5, is 5, 5 is 7, is 8, 5. So you'd lose 1,500 doing it the way I'm telling you to. So it's 1,500 gold. And this is every like 2 weeks, I think, too, because we do 2 weeks now, right? So is 1,500 gold every 2 weeks going to kill you? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's
Definitely not.
I'm not against it because you're right. It's like 1 or 2 taps away, but that's actually why I call that the dead range. Is because if you really don't get anything worth your time in there, you just don't. Between 40 and 60, it's just so fucking dead. Or 40 and 80. I'm sorry. And it's not that it's not valuable, and I've done it like an idiot, but it's really not. There's not real value there. So up to you. That's a personal decision. If you want to, go for it, but you now know that the value is not really there.
Yeah. Or better to say that other ranges have better values, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. We've had 2 or 3 ranges where the values just are bad. It's a bad climb. Actually, can I be honest with you? And I haven't said this, but I can say this because it won't ruin my videos. The range that we're moving into right now, actually 1620, 1620. So up to 1610, great value. 1620 right now to 1640, dead value. 1650 actually, dead value. We're in that same phase. People don't know it yet, but they will know as soon as I make the video on it. We're in that dead range again. That's why I'm telling people not to level up. Because they're going to give us another tier. It's a fundamental truth. As a matter of fact, the reason why they're giving us this new honing system is to buy time. People don't see it, but it's okay. They will. Sorry. Side brag moment. But okay, back on your goals. So week one, you want to do what?
It's Reaper, and I guess we switched to Sophist this time.
Okay. And we keep the summoner where she is.
Yeah.
Okay. Week 2. What do you want to have by the end of week 2?
1580 on the first Shadowhunter, and then ideally, or like once that's done, focus on the other one, the 1565.
Mm-hmm. And then for the last two weeks of the 1 month, that'll be your only goal. I'm not even kidding. Getting that last 65 up to 80 will be your only goal for the remaining 2 weeks of the month. And then in 4 weeks, 1 month, we'll check back in. And I think at that point, that's where you can start, if you really want to, start funneling the shit out of the Glavier to get her to that next level. Or we can pull backwards and go back to the 1540s. But I got to be honest with you, the 1540s won't be ready by that point. So you're either going to be in a farm phase for a couple of months, or we just start heavily focusing the Glaive, trying to push her up.
All right.
Are you cool with all of that? Is there anything that you didn't like? Is there anything that you want to add? Is there anything that wasn't answered? Because clarity when going for goals is huge. If you're unclear, then it's going to hurt along the way. But you
goal-wise, I think I've got the direction down. What I wanted to ask is, I don't think I've ever like gone out of my way to figure out is, what are all the avenues are possible to gain gold, apart from just doing raids, because you mentioned like selling gems and stuff. But
there's a lot of good videos for this, and I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to be like, oh, watch fucking 90 videos. But I would. I'm just going to add it in here, though. There's a lot of good gold making videos.
No,
I think early entry, I think the fastest way to make gold without real investment time or investment cost is trade skills. So 1 to 2 times a week, I would clear out your energy bar and sell those. I don't do that personally, but I also, because I have a bigger roster, have different things, like you just said, different avenues I can take to make my gold.
If you have multiple 1580s, it's like 10k a day for Sauna Veil.
Your guardians. Yep. He's also right. Even the Hanamatons that you have, like, do your dailies. Dailies are obviously gold oriented. Raids are obviously gold oriented. But trade skills, again, easy entry. I recommend that for anybody in your place actually that doesn't have a roster of like 20 characters. It's totally worth your time. It's even worth my time too. I just can't. I hate fucking trade skills, so I'm not doing it. It's like 10 minutes to 20 minutes for, I think, I don't know how much gold you make now, but I know like a couple months back it was like 20, 30K a week or something like that. It was kind of crazy. So, and I'm exaggerating because I don't really remember what it was, but so yeah, trade skills. As Bob said, dailies always a big go-to for me. Raids, obviously. But you also, if you're good enough skill-wise, bussing's actually really good income. But I don't see you having the ability to bus any of the pieces of content other than maybe Vaulton on your main. The reason I don't really like recommending bussing is I don't think the average player can do it. And if they can do
Yeah.
it, can you do it efficiently? That's the problem. You don't have level 10s. You don't have cracked out builds. You don't have multiple characters that can do it. You know what I mean? You don't even necessarily have
No
maybe even a
LOS
friend
30.
group. No LOS
Yeah.
30, exactly. Your roster level.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot that's missing from you to be able to do it on the level that would make me pick you as my driver over someone else.
Yep.
Um, so it's like gatekeeping in opposite way, right? Like, but
Yeah.
other than that, honestly, there is other ways to make gold. Like right now, if you're in the end game content, Algacia, I know, or Plachia, the adventure tomb shit's going for like 50K. So you could try to farm those
Yeah.
too.
True.
I don't recommend that because that's heavily RNG based. But if you're asking for all avenues, that is another avenue that you can make gold with. Um, you also have the alt roster concept where you could start, just doing weekly unas. I don't, again, wouldn't recommend that if you haven't done it already because it's hard to get it rolling and it can create burnout if you're not
Yeah.
like
The
up.
Voldus stuff though, I just checked. It's freaking expensive right now. All the
Yeah,
Voldus collection log shit. Yeah, it's
and it
crazy.
will be for a while because the bots aren't there, so they're not flooding it.
Yeah.
And it's easy. You just kill like regular NPC type creatures. You just keep killing them over and over again. So if you want something chill to do,
Yeah, it's like if you've ever played RuneScape, that's the most RuneScape way to make gold. Like it really
Uh,
is.
you're killing
I,
fire giants.
Yeah, it's basically it's not even the fire giants are harder to kill. But he's so right. Like they're NPC bot. Like they're literally the easiest shit in the game to kill. So I'd say that those are probably your best options. There is ways.
Jewelry.
There is ways to jewelry, but that's way too RNG, right? So
It's very RNG, but sometimes you'll get that piece that just puts you over.
over the top, yeah. But he has to farm content like raids and dailies to get those anyway. So that's why I figured that's kind
Yeah,
of in
yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
So
True.
it's a
True.
part of
yeah.
those incomes, right? If I was going to add to it, there is something that I do that other content creators don't do, and they still don't see the value in it. But like, if you go to your shop real quick, I'm not recommending you do this, but eventually you could be at a stage where you do this. If you go to your shop, you can exchange blue crystals for good value. So like, if you go in there, go back a page and find like the radiance. So those radiance, it gives you 40 radiance for 160 blue crystals. Can you go to your currency exchange and see how much it would cost you to get 160 blue crystals? I think it's just two of them, with a profit of 20 blue crystals technically. So just do two, it'd be about 5,600. So now can you go to the marketplace and see how much it would cost you to get 40 radiance?
Damn, you guys. Wait, are you on East Coast?
Yep.
God, you guys got such good prices over there.
uh,
2,800 for a set of blue crystals? Are you fucked?
It was better at one point.
32.
So
Oh
just
my
do
god,
40
that's
of them.
awesome.
And if that value is higher than the value,
52.
oh, would you do the math in your head?
No, I just opened up a calculator real quick.
I was like, where the fuck?
How much? How much 40 of those?
Future references, you could have just clicked buy and then typed in 40 in the thingy.
True. I just windowed keyed it.
5K.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
Okay.
that's a crazy bang for your buck right there. No.
Well,
Wait,
no, maybe because he said 52 and it cost 56, so that's a loss, actually.
it cost 56 blues.
It cost 5,600 to get the blues that he needs, but he had 20 blue
Oh.
crystals over. Actually, you're not wrong. Actually, he had. It's kind of close. It's actually very close right now because he had 20 blue crystals over. Because
How
you don't.
much? Where was the purchase of the 40? Like, how many blue crystals do you need to buy 40?
It was 160, and you get
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
and you're gonna
yeah,
get
that's close.
186. So you have 26 over the top. So if we do the math backwards, could you go to your you have a calculator pulled up? Could you do 20? I think it's go to your currency exchange.
Okay, this is bad. So this
One
is
one
gambling.
second.
But
Wait, 1 second though. Hold up. Just can you do 2898 or 2900 divided by 95 so we can figure out how much each individual blue crystal's worth?
30.5.
Okay, so each individual blue crystal's worth 30.5 gold. So now multiply that times 26.
793.
Okay, so it actually is still profitable. So technically, you could still do this. So you could sell your tradables and then come to the cash shop and exchange that gold that you made with your tradables. And now you remember when leaps were 180 gold, you could see how this is even better, right? See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So this is something that I implement into my thing, and people are like, "Oh, you're losing gold." No, you're not. You're actually profiting. Like that's what's crazy.
yeah. They don't understand the concept of bound materials that you're buying because they think, oh, you can't sell them, so you're losing gold. But no, bro, you're saving money.
You're saving value. Yeah, exactly. That's why I hate when people
A
only
dollar
sum up
saves, a
gold.
dollar earned, bro. Like, come on. You never
A
heard
dollar
that
saved, a
concept
dollar
before?
earned. I love you.
Like,
I miss
what
talking
the
to you.
fuck?
Low
No,
key.
like, come on,
Yeah,
bro. You never
no.
heard that concept before? Some people are just like brain dead. It's just kind of like, what the fuck, bro?
The problem with this game is they only see gold as the value. They
Yeah,
don't get that it's a part of your ratio. It's a part of your equation.
Gotta
Like
look for
it's,
those discounts, baby. Gotta look for those
Yep.
discounts.
So that's
That's
one example. So always pay attention to the market. And actually, right now, it's showing that is profitable. So you could sell your tradables and do that, and it would be perfectly normal. It's fine. It's a good value. But in addition to that, if you go to your top right, I do this, but I don't want you to do it because you don't have 6 characters at the end game. So for you, it's dangerous. For me, it's worth it. But if you go up to your features, I think, top right, and then go to the second or third page. I think it's the second one though. See those 1100 for the Una tickets? So if you use the Una skip tickets, okay, now this is bad if you have the time to do it, but it's actually still a profit. So if you have, like, it saves you time, you're allowed to make gold somewhere else. If you use 50 of those tickets, you get 5 per ticket, right? But if you do it, so go back out of this, go to your calculator. You do 5 times 50 because you get 5 Unas or 5 leaps per day, right? So you do 5 times 50, it's 250, and then you do the evaluation on that. So if you do 250 times 132, which was the price in the market, I'll do it on screen, I guess. 250. This is unrested. This is if you do your Unas every single day, right? Every single day. It's worth 33,000. Can you go to your currency exchange real quick? I actually think this is a loss of 2K right now, so it would be paid XP. Now I think it's 12 with a little left over. So quantity 12 with a little left over. You can just type it in the thingy.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's perfect. That's crazy. And you'd have 40 left over. So
It did lower just now, actually.
It's still profit. That's fine. It's still profiting though. So here's the thing. The reason why I do this is because I play rested, right? So because I play rested, I'm not getting 250 stones. I'm getting 500 stones from my 50 tickets. And so I get 500 stones for my 50 tickets. You can see how quickly that's a profit, right? It's almost double the value. Granted, this is paid XP, and why I'm saying this is that you don't have to do this. And actually, it's better efficiency. Why I'm not telling you to do this is it's better efficient. But you asked all avenues, so that's why I'm showing this. It's
Sure.
better efficiency for you specifically to actually everybody to just do the fucking Una daily for the 4 things every day. It's just better to do it. It's better for your time value. In
Unless
my
you're doing
case,
horizontal content, right?
say again.
Like unless you're unlocking shit, right? Like horizontal content.
If you're unlocking stuff, you definitely shouldn't be using tickets because you're not getting any value. That's a convenience thing. If you're doing that, you're doing it for your sanity, not for your value.
But I'm just saying, like, you can't even include yourself in that. Like, I couldn't even get those leaf stones because I'm doing shitty tasks that don't give me leaf stones, you know?
Oh,
'Cause I'm
true.
on masterpiece.
True. Yes. Yeah, because you're still doing all the other medial tasks. Yeah, 100%. This is something
But
that somebody
once
at the
that's
end game
done,
can do.
though, yeah.
And it values somebody's roster like mine. Like, again, it's not technically I'm better off just doing them. But in my case where I have 20 characters that I can go in that same time that it takes me to do my 6 main characters Unas, I can alleviate, let's say it takes me about 30 minutes to do their Unas. That's another, let's say, 5 to 10 chaos dungeons. I already made that value back. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I do it. Is because in my roster specifically, it profits me hard because I only do it rested. All of my characters use them rested. So I'm not only
And you're
getting
a fucking horizontal demon, so you have like all your shit.
everything's done. Yeah. So I wanted to point it out just because I'm not saying I want you to do that. You asked all avenues, and I'm trying to really stretch my brain around anything that I can offer you, and that's one of them. So it's not always necessarily about making gold, like Bob said. Sometimes it's about saving gold by increasing your resource production. Does that kind of make sense?
Okay.
And it actually looks like that the blue crystal thing I am going to recommend. Go back to the LostArk shop. I am going to recommend the Mari shop for you because it does look like that's actually still a profit right now. So you sell your tradables and you come here and you buy these. So every
Did you already do
40.
your Soul Eater event?
Sorry.
Did you already do your Soul Eater event that gave you
Yeah.
15K? Damn, dude.
I don't know about 15K. Is that like at the end?
Yeah,
Yeah, at
1580.
the end, yeah.
That's why you have to get that done.
Evolve showed me that shit. I was so hyped, bro. It was like a free 1580 at that point.
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
I
How
got
long?
lucky,
How
Evolve,
long
by
do
the
we
way. I
have?
got super lucky. I one-tapped my weapon and 3 other
Uh,
pieces.
First week
I
of
only
February.
used 500 to get from
27,
500 leap stones to get from 1560 to 1580.
Wait, one second though, Bob. Because I'm gonna end up. You and me are gonna do a vid after this, but jump on
I
the
got so
Shadow
lucky, bro.
Hunter. Jump on the Shadow Hunter real quick because this is actually is important. If this is gonna expire soon, you change your plans. If that's gonna expire soon, you need to prioritize that character to
Yeah,
80.
I think it's February 6th or 7th.
Yeah, so you have 3 weeks for. Well, actually, no, that kind of lines up with the timetable though. So instead of prioritize, yeah, I think you'll still be fine, but maybe instead of prioritizing the other 70 to 80, although that would bring more value in right now, maybe we put that character first.
It gave me like 300 radiance from completing it to get to 1580. Like just that alone in value, like on top of the 15K, gave me 330 prime arrayhas. Like just that alone is such a big value.
Yeah, 300 even times the 132. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah,
nuts.
you got to get this done. Like you actually
Yeah,
have to.
so-
Go to
Oh,
not that. Go to the
your
path.
character also has an
Bottom
increased
right.
honing rate.
No, go back to that. Bottom right. Click on the chest. No, path of soul leader.
Um,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go to the bottom right. Item C. So 15K, 5 million. Like you need to complete this.
Bro, you got it. I
You
did the same
and never mind the quality taps too. You get 40 free quality taps. Like there's the value that comes out of this right now is insane. And that is a selector pack for specific cards.
Oh yeah, the card pack was so nice. Oh my fucking god.
So I just
Yeah, I'm getting there.
plus the
think
Akon
yours-
set, it'll save you a ton
It's
of
just
time.
it'll be over on the 7th or the 17th, right? The pass.
It'll
the leader
say it
pass.
on it. It'll say it
So
somewhere
it's
on
coming. It's coming up. That's why you're just saying get it done.
Yeah.
Left
It's like
side.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's the 7th.
Well, and you want to get that. Well, we're not even gonna be able to get our full concept super easily anymore because our Soul Eater pass is gonna end before we can. The weeks will be up for us to get.
That's
the
why
full
I'm trying to get him
concept.
there soon too, because then at least if he can get 1 or 2 weeks in, he'll at
1 or
least
2
get
weeks. Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
And here's the thing: the reason I'm also telling you to complete this is if you go back to the path of the Soul Leader, is it actually aids you up to 1610. But all you have to do to get the aid to 1610 is get to 80. Once you get to 80, you've completed it, and then it's going to give you a box in your inventory that every time you hit that next threshold, it'll give you some materials. You keep that forever. That doesn't have an expiration date. So that's why it's so important that you actually get this character to 80. I actually didn't think about that this entire time. So this actually should be your major priority. You could still get the 240s. I would still get the 240s because it's cheap as shit. Week 1, get your 240s, but actually week 2 through 4, this is your goal.
Okay.
It's a crazy amount of value. Crazy amount of value. It's insanity. Like even if you click on
and
the
those
reach.
tests in between, they don't really give you much.
No, but it's still
58
free value though.
So yeah, it is free value. So I'm gonna say like from experience, they give you a good amount. So they'll. I mean, actually, no. I take it back. I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about the actual event pass because there's 2 passes that stack on each other. I'm pretty sure. There's the Soul Eater pass and then the event pass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the event pass doesn't give you shit. The one that's already in your inventory that's locked off, that is ass. But that right there, that chest, 15 times fucking marvelous. Like that really comes in clutch. And the really it's those regular Rehas that really fucking come in clutch. And all those books.
Even the honor shards though. The honor
Look at the
shards are
books.
insane.
That's
yeah,
like
definitely the
fucking.
shirts.
It's like what? Almost 10, 20,000, 10,000
And
in
books.
books right there.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
So you just it's not a matter of whether or not like it's the most important thing for your roster necessarily. It's that's the best value. Hands down the best value you're gonna get out of your time right now.
oh yeah.
And if you're someone who's going to be playing for the next year, like you have a future mindset, like you want to continue to play and grow and climb, then yeah, that's literally the most important thing you can do right now.
And we get another one of these in March. Oh my god.
I know it's actually going to be better. I heard rumors of 1620, so.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I'm so ready. If it's gonna be a 1620 push, it's time to main swap.
Which the other thing too, here's the other thing back in is if that's the case, if this next pass is 1610, 1620, then it's even better that we're not pushing your Glavier yet because it might be able to be applied to her, and then it will just help us get you there quicker.
Okay. Yeah.
So now that I know we kind of took a step back and changed some things, but do you kind of know what you want to do now?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any other questions?
Easy. This right here, I promise you, you won't spend more than like 8K on. Like you will get there on that. Yeah, on that, I was at 1560 yesterday. You just get so much from the chest. You got that, bro. Like you got that nice and unless you get unlucky, like very unlucky. I'm talking pitying every
No,
single
but
item.
they nerfed the honing thing for the event. Like anybody in the
Yep.
path to Soul Eater has a better chance.
Yeah, you get like 10. Well, you get like 10% artisan on each tab. It's fucking insane. So you only pity after a few tabs. It's
You're
not
gonna
really as
run
bad
out
as
of
it was.
shards, so it's a good thing you have all those honor shards
Yeah.
inbound. Yeah, you just need gold. You gotta. What? Where are you at raid wise this week? Did you get all your gold?
Let's see.
All right. Did you get at least a chunk of it? You got a little bit
So
left.
I'm a little hesitant with doing clown just because I've had like poor experiences with lobbies. Same here, I think. Oh, I need to do brawl here.
Do you know the content though?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because Caligos keeps trying to get me to do community ran groups, and maybe we'll start doing that. Because we have a lot of people in that range actually. Maybe we'll start doing that, and I'll just come on a boosted character and I'll carry people. Because I actually don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, is 1600 or 1610 Voltus ready?
1600 is normal.
Normal. Have you already done your normal Voltus for purple elixirs yet or no?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I saw them. I seen them.
Nice.
What's your trade skill energy at?
Nice.
Can you go out of that and hit B real quick? I think it's B. Yeah, so I'd go do that. That's your first priority.
Yeah.
Like now is what that would be the first thing I'd do.
All right.
Just because it's a 10k, you have it maxed out. Also, hit that plus on it if you want. I would use your fastest character as well, whoever's quickest on their feet. You can also apply the Spirit Absorb book, make you run a little bit quicker.
Oh, I got the card pack for the movement speed too to refresh that dash.
That's smart. Yeah, just because it makes it faster. Like anytime you're doing like questing or anything, just try to put shit like that on. It makes it a little bit quicker.
That being said, I'm kind of wondering if I should switch off of Glaber because prior to changing to Pinnacle, it was my fastest class because I had 1800 Swift. So I don't know if I should look into putting the because I'm doing expedition, right?
I do everything on my Zerger. So
It's
consider making a Mayhem Zerker just for that. I'm not even kidding. I use it for my platinum tickets. I use it for everything. They're so quick. Or even a full Swift Pally, straight up. But for now, go back out of this for a second and hit B again.
And plus.
Yep.
Right.
And you even have extra energy, so you could actually go for a little while. And you have 100. Yeah, yes. Please start doing these. Please start doing this because you're just sitting on crazy. You can use all of those if you really want to. It doesn't matter. They stack.
Oh right, yeah.
Leap essence is just XP, right?
No, leap essence is 2x or
like
3x.
Yeah,
consumption and reward. So it decreases the time that you need to do what you're doing.
Oh, nice. So you're not just gaining more XP, you're gaining more materials as well.
Everything, yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't even know that.
These are forgotten systems, that's why.
Yeah, I thought it was just an XP booster.
Got a purple in the first run.
Juice.
But that's it.
What level
Are
you
you
got? Legendary? Relic? Where are you?
Sir?
He had a gold, I think. It was a legendary. He wanted to know what kind of tools.
I use a purple one just because I like for durability's sake, and then I switch over.
That for the mini game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, man. I love this.
Are you good beyond that though? Do you feel better? Do you feel a little bit happier about your future?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also no shame in asking questions. Like I literally ask everybody questions too. They influence what I do as well. So that's a big problem with the community overall is that people are not asking questions. They're not talking to each other. They're not explaining when they're confused on something. I think that's the bigger problem is that when the Korean kids were telling us all this great information at the beginning, nobody was questioning it at all. Not in the sense saying that it was wrong, but questioning it in the sense that saying, like, if you're not the kid in class that raises his hand when you don't understand something, you're never going to learn.
Yep.
So you gotta, right? So you have to ask sometimes. But no, if you
so,
feel good, I'm gonna separate and I'm gonna go do bops now too. I actually have 2.
Well, I actually still have a question, but
yeah, go ahead. Don't ever feel rushed. I'm
yeah.
I'm very progress oriented, which makes me not a fun person to hang out with sometimes. But I can't help it. I can't turn it off.
No, I understand. But what I wanted to ask is, I remember watching a video that you posted a while back, where you mentioned kind of different from standard way to do honing, where I think like around 30 or 40, you just
The
switch
pity
on.
concept.
Yeah.
Yep. I still do
Uh,
that.
I was wondering if you can like elaborate on that because I
So,
don't think I fully grasped it.
to be fair, to this day, I'm still not. I don't know exactly what the perfect moment is to do that. So, but I will explain I'll explain the underlying concept.
Okay.
Because I don't know if 30% is necessarily the best point. But the concept is, if if you're going to pity a piece, right? The sooner you start using those honing mats, the better, right? The ones that I had you take out, the special honings, the reds, the blue, the blessings, and those things
Yep.
to increase pity. So again, if you're going to pity the piece, if the piece is going to go to 100% artisan, then the sooner you start using those, the more you save, right? And the later you start using them, the less you save. And then vice versa. If the item's not going to pity, the sooner you start using those, the more you lose, technically. And the later you start using them, the more you save. So if you're going to hit at 50% artisan, then it's not a good idea to use it from 0 upwards. But if you use it towards, it's actually just not a good idea to use them at all, honestly. But if you use it towards like 40% artisan, then you're not losing as much because you only use it for 10%. Does that make sense? Kind of. Hello? Am I
I kind of
disconnecting?
no. I got lost like on the second half just because I was trying to get the
No, it's okay.
the
Honesty.
mini game.
No, it's good. It's honesty. I do that too. When you space out, it's important to tell somebody that you didn't hear what they said. Again, so basically, the whole concept here is that if the piece is going to pity, then you want to use it from the start. But you can't predict that. You don't know what pieces are going
Yeah.
to pity and not. So I tried to find a
Sorry, you
happy
use what from the start?
the juice
The special.
materials. See the chest
Okay.
in your
Yeah.
inventory that says 35? Those.
Yep.
Or books. Even books. Books count as this too. Anything to boost your artisan, right?
Okay.
So because you don't know if a piece is going to pity or not, then I think it's 50% is actually, I think, like the perfect number to start using them at, because if it pities, then you save 20% or 25% or whatever of it. I do it at 30% because I've convinced myself that at 30%, if it hasn't hit by 30%, there's a really high chance that the piece is going to pity. In my opinion, it's opinion. That's entirely opinion. I don't have math or data to back that up. But it means that
Just experience.
yeah,
Okay.
and it means that at 30%, if I start using those materials at 30, so the reason I swap pieces too, because to go back to your question, is because I'm looking for a one tap. I call it one tap fishing. So I'm hoping, the reason I level things like that is I'm hoping that it's one of those pieces is going to hit. Because if let's say I have 5 pieces of armor, and I do that on all 5 pieces, and 2 of those pieces hit within that 30%, below the 30%, then I know that one of those 3 pieces is more likely to pity now because they just gave me my luck on those pieces. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's why I do that. And it's not always true. Sometimes it goes wrong. It happens, right? But if you're right and it does pity, which more often than not I am right, if you're right and it does pity, then that 70% artisan that you had left to the pity isn't 70% anymore. I think it's not 35, it's not half anymore. It used to be half, but now at the range that we're at, in some ranges up to 1580, I think it still saves you half. I'm not sure on that. You'd have to look. But basically, if it doubles your artisan. So if you only get 1% artisan naturally, and then you use those and it puts you up to 2%, then you're saving half the materials. If it goes up to 3%, you're saving more than half the materials. But I think half's kind of the baseline. So long story short, if you're at 70% left, if you're at 30% artisan, and you have 70 left, and it does go to 100% pity, and you started using them at 30%, then you saved 35% of your resources. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, if you're wrong, though, the reason I like doing it at that point is that means that it's going to hit below 100%. And if it hits below 100%, so if you're at 30 and it hits at like 50, then you only lost 10% of your materials, because it is a loss, technically. Does that make sense? The only time those materials get their value is if it actually pities. If it doesn't pity, every single one of those that you use was a loss. Is that a little bit more clear?
Like
Or?
all of them?
Yeah, kind of. It's basically a straight write-off.
Okay.
That's what sucks.
Oh,
Is that's why if you're using
yeah.
them and you get a one tap, like obviously you're happy for that one tap, but those materials were not needed.
Yep.
So that's the concept. But there is more to that too that I never added to that because I didn't discover it till later. But there's also like a point where like if you can use those materials and it takes the percent chance of hitting to like 12% from 6%, sometimes that's not a bad idea either, because screw the artisan for a second. If I can increase my odds from 6% to 12% per tap, then that means that 12%'s got a 1 in 10 chance of hitting, right? So concepts like that also apply too. But just for the pity aspect, the reason I go to 30% is because I'm convinced in my head that that's like that perfect number. But it's really not, because I've done it with someone before, and I think it is 50%. I think if you get to 50% and then you start using it, that's actually where you can guarantee that you'll either save the most value you can, or not the most, but you'll save a good amount of value if it does pity. But if it doesn't pity, you don't really lose that much. You can only lose upwards of 25% value. So you can only gain, actually that's why it's perfect, because you can only gain 25% value. If you're at 50% and it goes up to 100%, you only gain 25% value. If it doesn't go up to 100%, you can only lose up to 25% value. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So it's like that happy medium. It's like risk reward. Whereas 70% doing it at 30% artisan, you're giving yourself a higher reward chance because you can save 35%. But if it hits before it's an automatic profit. Or not an automatic profit, but it's an automatic better result. So like if it doesn't go to pity, you can't lose 35%. Does that make sense?
If it doesn't go to pity, you don't lose 35.
So if you're at 30 and it goes to pity, then you make max profit or max savings of 35% of your resources saved. But if it doesn't go, right, if you're at 30 and it doesn't go to 100 and it only goes to 90, let's say 90% artisan and then hits, then that means you didn't use 70%, you only used 60%, which means you only lost 30%. See what I'm saying? So it like almost guarantees that you always make more, or you always have a higher chance of making more than what you can lose. Does that make sense? It's only 5% there, but that 5% means that you have the potential at 30% artisan, you have the potential, if it does pity fully, of saving 5% more materials than if it doesn't go to 100 of what you lose. You'll have. Does that kind of make sense? No.
Sorry, was this at 50 or 30?
Here, let me. I'm gonna pull paint up. I'm not even kidding.
Wouldn't putting like those items on the item you're trying to hone up sooner be better, because it would take less taps in the end if you are gonna pity that item?
Say it again.
Because like each one of those items adds to the percent of artisan chance you get, getting you closer to that pity point every single time.
Well, that's what I said earlier. Is that if you're gonna pity if you use it at 0, it's the best.
It's
You
the
save
best.
50%.
Yeah. If you pity.
So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
can predict
Okay, I
that
see
a
what you're
piece
trying
is
to
gonna
say,
pity
yeah.
immediately, then yeah, fucking use it right out the window. But,
Right. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
gonna get you there faster.
and it's gonna
Yeah.
save you more materials. But if it
But
doesn't
if you one
pity,
tap, it's just like L.
you
L
lost.
goes there,
Yeah, you just lost it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you just lost.
And
But
even
in
more.
the long run though, like 10K, like even how much is it for a full tap of all those materials? Have you done the math for all that?
It's a lot.
Probably around like what?
It's like 7K.
3K?
No, for me right now, it's like 7,000.
7,000 is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
So you're
mean,
saving all those materials technically, yeah.
Yeah, you're saving about 7K.
And that's
you have to do that for each tap.
and that's why there's
Jesus fuck.
there's an argument at the end game to just kind of use them all, because we're supposed to pity at least 1 or 2 pieces at this range of the game. But like where you're at with some of those 1540 characters, I wouldn't even use any items, because the loss isn't big enough that it hurts you. Like it's not. You know what I mean?
I just use them right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do use them right away,
predictions.
but every time you use them right away and you don't pity, you lost all those mats. They
Yeah.
lost their value.
Yeah. Getting lucky sucks sometimes. But like you got to think like one.
Oh, I can't share screen. Never
You
mind.
still probably save a lot of money from one tapping that item versus going however many taps it takes at whatever rate you are. So that little bit you lost on that 7K loss probably isn't that much, you know?
Can you see that? I don't know if this is gonna work because I'm recording and doing this. Can you see this?
Your paint, yeah.
Okay. So check out the paint real quick. I'm gonna call you Bach. All right. So it's basically saying if we're at 30% artisan, right? Oof, that's not a percent. Oh, that's not a percent. Oh, that's the percent.
Almost there, yeah.
Yeah. If you're at 30% artisan, right? And this goes all the way up to we have 100%, right? What I was trying to say with that, and then we have, let's say, 80%. we'll make it a little bit better math just for shits and giggles, right? If you start using it here, right, and it goes all the way up to 100%, because that's 70% of artisan that you have to climb, but it saves you half of it, then you saved 35%, right?
Yep.
That makes sense? Or half. You could just say half. You can always dumb this down and bring it backwards, right? Scale it back. But if you're going towards 80% from 30%, that's only 50%, right? It's 50% artisan, not 70% artisan. So that means that if it hits at 80, and it doesn't go to 100%, that you only use, because it's 50, 25%. So you're only losing 25%. So, because remember, these materials are now dead to you. Like, because it hit before 100%, you didn't get the value out of it. This 25% is technically a loss. So what I'm showing you is I'm saying that you're risking 25%, right? At 30%, you're risking 25%, or it could go up to 99. If it goes up to 99, you fucking took a massive L. But but not really, because you're still saving, and that's what's crazy. So it's, you did and you didn't. Like, this is where this becomes hard, because it's not fully true what I'm saying, but it is. If I had the real math, I could probably come up with a better explanation for this. But basically, I'm saying you're risking 25% of your value that you could completely lose at any moment to gain 35% of your value. So your highest possible expectation out of this is to save 35% of your materials, and the worst possible expectation out of this is to lose. If it went up to 99, 99 is 69% from there. So whatever that is, half of that, it'd be 30 something percent, 33. So you could lose maximum of 33% doing what I'm doing. And that's why I was saying before that I actually think 50% is the better number, because 50% in the same equation means that you're only risking 50% for 50% gain. It's exactly even. So if it fails all the way up, you save 50% of your material, or 25% of your materials. If it hits any time before that, you can only lose a maximum of 25% of your materials. That's why 50% artisan is actually the real true efficiency number, but I still do 30% because that hidden RNG factor. If I had 5 pieces and 2 of them one-tapped for me, I know one of these fucking pieces is going to pity. Right?
Yeah.
Does that clear up it a little, or no? If not, please ask questions, because this is actually one of the more confusing concepts, trust me. And again, if I had the real numbers, I could actually figure out exactly where we're supposed to stop on this, but I don't have their numbers. And that's why I really do wish, even though I'm an asshole, that they would reach out to me, because I could actually take their information and teach the public how to actually play their game. I really could. I just need their numbers. I need to know what these numbers actually look like behind the scenes. But yeah, if that makes sense, this is a big thing. I'm not even kidding. This actually has helped me get one-taps, like, forever, and save materials forever. Do you need anything else elaborated on there? Or can I X out of the paint, or?
Well, yeah. I
Now, if
think
I
I'm
asked
good
you
on
to
the
explain
concept.
it back to me, could you explain it back to me?
I'd probably need like a couple more minutes to digest.
Okay, so take it. And because I want to make, even if you get a rudimentary version of it, I don't even care. Because I still have a rudimentary version of it. Like, I actually, like, it's one of those concepts that I'm still developing. And I think that's something that people always don't give me credit for, as a human being and a flawed person, just a normal person like they are, because I have that over-the-top ego in the videos, is that they don't understand that a lot of these concepts I've actually been perfecting over time, that I didn't actually have as clear of an idea in my head as I do now, or later, right? I didn't, like, this stuff didn't just come to me overnight. Some of this I had to keep adding to it and adding different levels of understanding to it. And that's why I said that part about,
And it gets reinforced.
yeah, and the more I teach it, the more I learn it, and the more I actually figure things out. So just a quick summary. Why do I go to 30%?
Mainly, I want to say, and I don't.
We don't live in a
I
judgmental community. Our community
yeah,
is
I don't
arguing
know how
half
to
the
word
time, so
this.
just say however you want.
Just from experience.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
doing 30% not because I have any real reason to say that number's right. It's just that from experience, it seems like that's the right number to do it. Now, the concept overall, though, making your pities cost less, is basically what that video was. Do you get that? Because that's not just me doing it from personal experience. There's actual math behind that. Why are
That,
we
yes.
using... So if I want to get the most value out of those honing materials, when should I use them?
The support ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel inclined to say the 50 just because that's kind of where you're kind of
I'm going to say you're wrong. Um,
narrowing down.
no, that was the
Okay.
perfect. That's the perfect risk management number, meaning that I can only
Okay.
gain 25 and I can only lose 25. It's the perfect. That's that perfect point where if it does fucking go wrong, it can't. To get the most value out of them, you actually use them at 0%. So if it pities from
Oh,
0, you get
yeah,
the
yeah,
most
yeah.
value. Now, where do I take the biggest loss if I start using them?
Well, latest, no?
Basically, the earlier you use it, if it hits earlier. But yeah,
Right.
also,
Yeah.
because latest not necessarily, because technically, you could go to
Well,
seventy
I mean,
percent. You could go to 70%, and if that's gonna pity, you're guaranteed 15% savings. So you're not increasing your savings there, but you're not losing either. The biggest loss comes
yeah.
from the earlier you use it, with the sooner
This
you hit.
guy.
Sorry, I don't want to confuse you. I hope that it does help a little bit. And if you don't
No,
get
no,
it,
yeah.
if you don't get it, then you can literally just follow kind of what I do and go to 30 or 50%. And if you don't hit a one tap, then start using them on one. Because do you know why I do it like that and I don't do it the way that they do it? They want you to always use it on the weapon. The weapon's always got to be the most expensive. If you always do that and then your weapon always one taps, then you're never saving fucking value. You're just saving those perpetually, right? It doesn't make any sense. I actually
Yeah.
believe that the better way to do it is to try to make sure wherever you are going to pity that you're saving, because you're not going to have enough of those special honings to make sure every single tap uses them, right? So then you want to make sure where you are using them gets you the most bang for your buck, and that's on the items that are going to pity. So if I'm going to pity an armor piece, this is what I don't get. Like, this is why I kind of hate their advice sometimes. If my weapon's going to hit at 50%, right, and I could probably do this by pulling up the weapon on max roll, but I'm just going to guess at it, right? I'm willing to bet, and again, this isn't true yet until we prove it with the math. But I'm willing to bet. Also, this has been an hour, so I definitely need to cut this soon. But I'm willing to bet, though, last statement, I'm willing to bet that a weapon at 50% artisan actually costs less than 100% of an armor piece pity. So when they say that you should always use it for the weapon, that's just completely fucking illogical, because that's not necessarily always going to be the best savings. If I'm going to pity an armor piece, I'm better off using those materials on the pitied armor piece than I am using it on a weapon that's going to hit anywhere between 30 and 60%. That's basically what I'm saying. And that may not be true. I said 50% because I do think that the weapon costs twice what the armors cost. So I think 50% would be that marker. Any weapon that hits 50% and under is automatically a worse value than just using it on an armor piece to pity. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat that last part?
Any weapon that you use those special honings on that hits 50% or under is a worse value than using it on an armor piece that hit 100% pity.
Just like through the materials.
Everything, overall value, yeah. Gold,
Okay,
materials,
yeah, yeah.
shards. And again, I'm guessing at that 50% marker. I don't know if that's where it becomes true, but I know that it's true eventually. Even if I had to bring it down to 30%. If you have a weapon that hits at 30% and you used all those artisan materials for it, you're losing value compared to using it for an armor piece that went full pity. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if the full pity of an armor costs you 100k in value, right? And then the 30% of the weapon, or the 50%, we'll just go back to the extreme. If the 50% of the weapon only costs you 75k in value, then it's better to use it for the armor that pitied for 100k value than it is to use it for the weapon that only got 70k, 5k value. That concept. And that's why I just can't stand. I don't. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's why I literally can't stand how they teach pity and how they teach to use the honing materials and stuff, because it's just mathematically illogical. It doesn't make sense. And that's why when they argue some of this shit with me, I'm like, no, bro, like this is math. Like there is no arguing this. I may be wrong where the perfect markers are, like where the perfect stop slash like hit points are or whatever, but I'm not wrong about the ideology overall. The ideology overall is grounded in fundamental math. Make sense, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. My camera's blurry. I hate when the camera gets blurry. All right, I'm gonna end this one. Do you have any final questions? Because you have like the longest guru I think I've ever done.
Oh man. I hope I wasn't keeping you guys.
No, stop it. It's not. No, it's not why we do it. I don't even care. Like I have full rested characters right now. I don't want you to feel like ashamed for that. You asked great questions, and you showed that you actually you know what you want to know. You know what I mean? Like you know exactly what you wanted to target. The fact that you asked that as a question is crazy. Like nobody asked that.
The pitting.
Yeah, and it's an important one. It's actually huge,
I
and there's
it's
room
always
for
been on the back of
improvement.
my yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. But there's room for improvement on
No,
that too, meaning that other content creators should actually take that one from me, and that should become a conversation because that one has room for improvement, like massive room for improvement. But go ahead. It was a concept that had always kind of rung.
yeah, in the back of my head, just when you mentioned it, I know I at least baseline, I knew it was more efficient to just kind of level everything up like one by one. But in terms of like the I guess the min maxing with trying to like fish for one taps and the pity systems, I didn't. Um,
It's a gambit system, so you're fishing.
yeah,
You're trying to. You know what it's kind of like? It's like you're trying to counting cards, right? What's counting cards all about? It's not basically increasing your luck. It's basically having selective luck. It's choosing where you bet, right? And that's basically what we're doing. We're basically we're taking it. You right now you have a random array of things that can happen because all five pieces are at 0%. But then once you hit that one tap on the helmet and you hit that one tap on the weapon, you now know that one of those other three pieces is very likely to pity. So we're not counting cards necessarily, but we're taking the big random equation and we're
it's like
slowly dialing it back.
law of averages, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're taking the law. Well, kind of. Law of averages is also. Law of averages is also like I have one bullet to shoot at a target versus five bullets to shoot at a target. Who's more likely to hit it? That's technically what the law of averages is. It's a but yes, it's yes, yeah. Basically, it is still probability. That's basically what we're doing. We're dialing it back to decrease the odds of failure, and increase the odds of success. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee. It just means that we're. It's just
Yeah.
like yeah. Okay. That's it. That's literally all it is. What else you got for me? Anything else?
Oof. Not that I can think of right
It's an
off the bat.
open forum too. You just reach out to anybody. Everybody in here relatively understands what we talk about. And there's a lot more people in here like build what like there's people in here with information that's better than my information on a lot of subjects. It just seems to be that a lot of people, and this isn't even just in the game, even in humanity, don't know how to budget. Like they just don't understand where to put their value or their attention time wise. And I think it just speaks to the overall time management issue of the world. Like people just don't know how to
Yeah.
manage their time. That's why you'll have somebody who works 40 hours a week, doesn't do anything else, just works 40 hours a week, and they're like, yeah, but I have no time in a week. It's like, no, actually, you have another 128 hours in a week. Like, you're crazy. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I'm personally pretty comfortable with saving unless I have to make like that decision of
Saving's different than budgeting, for the record.
okay.
As a matter
Okay,
of
yeah.
fact, saving in this game is what's holding you back because you have all those bound materials sitting in your inventory.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was actually gonna say that right after. Like in terms of saving and hoarding, like I'm pretty good about that, but in terms of I guess using the resources wisely and I guess spending or investing is where I kind of fall short.
And you're not alone. You're really not. There's a reason why the 1% is 1% and 99% is 99%. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's because most people actually, and this is a real world example, side note, most people think that keeping all their money in a savings account is good for them. That's actually just a lie. It's the longest telling lie in the United States, actually, because most bank account savings accounts have 3.5 to 5% interest rate, right? And the inflation rate of the U.S.
If
dollar
you're
is like
lucky.
12, and the inflation rate is 12 to 15% of the U.S. dollar. So that means that even if you have a 5% bank account at a 15% inflation rate, that means that you're losing 10% of your dollar's value every single year by keeping it in a savings account. And this is why I tell people to invest, because you just fundamentally are losing your money keeping it in a savings account. If you have
Okay.
$100,000 this year and you made 5% on that, you made five. I think it's like $5,000. You made $5,000. You didn't actually make $5,000 because the inflation rate's 15%, and because your money actually went down 15,000 in value, and you can't buy the same stuff you could last year with the same amount. You lost 10% of your money. So your $100,000 isn't worth 105,000, even though it says 105,000. It's actually worth 90,000.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with savers. It actually takes a lot of skill to save. I think that learning how to take what you have saved and putting it towards something that's bringing you in more value than a savings account is one of the more important things to everybody.
Yeah.
And note, I didn't tell you go invest in Microsoft, go invest in NFTs. I'm not giving you a direction. I'm just giving you an ideology, teaching you to fish rather than to give you the fish.
No, yeah.
My number one rule when I do teach people how to invest in the real world is don't let someone else invest your money for you. So that's literally my first rule. Not just because you can't necessarily trust everybody, you don't know what their agenda is, but also because even if I do have good intentions for you, if I tell you to go invest in this company and it crashes, our friendship just got real awkward.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
licensed CPAs, professionals, by all means. You want to go to somebody who's an actual investing guru, somebody who's that's their job, I recommend it 1 million times. If you're somebody who's making, 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a year, you're making a substantial amount of excess amounts of funds every year, it's worth your time to go to one of these people. And to just not have to worry about it, honestly. But is that, do you have any other crazy, wild questions for me?
right now, no. I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I think I'm good.